Hey, Steve Ritter here again. I'm gonna cook a little something tonight. I'm cooking dinner. I'm on dinner duty tonight, so I'm gonna cook a little something simple. This is something that Mom passed along to us. Now this is a little different, and if you look below on your way down, if you want to check out the recipe and the ingredients and all that, I've also got a link down below to Mom's smothered pork chops, and this is what I'm gonna make tonight. This is a much simpler because you're not making your own gravy. We're gonna use pork chops. We're gonna fry them up. So I've got 4 half-inch pork chops, salt to taste, some flour to coat them to get a nice coating on it and everything, because we're gonna fry the pork chops, and then we're gonna put in 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup, a can of cream of celery, and some sour cream, and that's it. And I'm going to cook that up. I really like it because I really like that over rice. So it's really kind of kind of cheating on the gravy. So don't tell anybody. Shh. So but that's what we're going to do. And you guys tell me also, because I'm looking at this camera. I got Mom's thing and her tripod. I don't know if Mr. Bucky backed up over it or something like that. It looks crooked to me. So if the camera's off or if the angle's off, if I'm standing sideways or whatever, you guys just let me know below in the comments or whatever. But I hope it's not too distracting. I'm trying to. There's a little bubble on the side, and I'm trying to put it up straight, but it looks straight to me now. So let me know, okay? So we'll come right back here in a second. So stand by one, and we'll come right back, and we'll have this set up to show the cooking and what I'm doing. Okay, so I'll be right back. Okay, back now. So like I said, I've got 4 half-inch pork chops. Now these, regular, store-bought, whatever in the grocery store. These are, Mom had ordered some Omaha steaks, and these are some pork chops from them. So a little bit of fat around the edge. They've been trimmed, and they're done up nice and all. So I'm going to use these up tonight. I'm going to take some just regular Himalayan pink salt here. Now, some folks have asked the question also, like with the beef bourguignon that I made the other night. I did when I took these out of the pack, or when I take meat out, typically I will run it under water to, because I find usually it has a little bit of a smell. I don't know if it's lactic acid or what, as the meat's breaking down, which it does. It will do. But I do rinse it off, and then I'll pat them down, which I did in the case here. So I just put a little salt on them here, a couple little turns of salt, and what I'm going to do is I've just got some just simple all-purpose flour, and I'm going to just kind of coat these, and I'm going to put them right back on the plate here. So some folks, I do read your comments. A lot of people ask questions about that, but the last meal that I made with the beef bourguignon, do I wash the mushrooms or first? I normally do meat and stuff. I guess we used to watch the AFN commercials when I was stationed overseas. They always had those community service commercials, and I always remember the lady always kind of talked about it, because the meat over there came wrapped up like in plastic packs. Well, just like this did. So you cut it out of those packs, and she said it always, it would have a little bit of a smell, and it did. Not a horrible, like a rotting smell, but it just a little. I think it's just the breakdown of the meat, natural breakdown that happens, and that's all it was. So. Anyway, I always remember that, and that's just what I do. Do you have to? No, I think it'd be fine. Now, if your meat, smells really off and bad, obviously I wouldn't cook it if it's rotten or anything, but you're pretty safe these days. And a lot of people, I remember Mom used to talk about pork chops. She was always really funny about pork and everything else. She told a story one time about waking up in the morning one time. She had a pack of pork chops in the refrigerator. Now I've got those, as I'm telling this story here, so I've got these nice and coated here, and I'm just gonna fry them a little bit in this pan. And again, this meal, I'm gonna do this all in one pot. So I'm gonna fry it in here, and then I'm gonna take it back off, and then I'm gonna do the other thing. So I'm gonna add to the pot here. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this on, because I'm gonna fry this on. So and I'm gonna put a tablespoon of oil in here just to help fry it. I don't want too much oil, or whatever oil I have, I'm gonna dab back out. So I don't want to soak it in oil, just enough to brown the pork chops and cook them, fry them up a little bit. But anyway, back to the story. She had put these pork chops in the refrigerator. She was going to cook them that next day, and she woke up that morning, and I was in the kitchen sitting on the floor. I'd opened up those pack of pork chops, and we're eating raw pork chops, and Mom about had a conniption fit when I did that. She about freaked out. Of course, back in the old days, there was a lot more of a worry about worms and things like that in pork. You really don't hear much about that these days. I mean, with the standards and everything else these days, you know, I like to cook my pork through. I like my steak cooked rare. I like my pork cooked through pretty well. So we'll brown these, we'll fry these up, these pork chops, really good. But they're gonna simmer in the pot with our cheater gravy for probably half an hour. So they'll be cooked through fine. And even if they're not, if it's a little bit of pink inside, I don't sweat it so much these days, you know. But that's just me. I'm crazy, Mr. Vegas, taking a chance. So I'm gonna heat this oil up. Chicken also, I don't care. Chicken I'm a little bit more picky on. I don't like pink in my chicken at all. I like it well done, you know, cooked through. So I'm gonna fry these. I'm gonna fry these pork chops up. Let me move this camera around so you guys can see a little better. Let me know. So there we go, right down into the pan so you can see. Hopefully it won't make too much of a racket. I'm gonna just go ahead and put these in, start browning them up here. I love it. That nice little sizzle. Just kind of lay them in here. Now, like I said, Mom's smothered pork chop recipe, she makes her own gravy. So she'll fry the pork chops up, and she'll fry the pork chops up and keep all the drippings, and then she'll add flour to the grease left behind, the fat that cooks off the pork chop, and she'll use that fat to make the gravy. And what's browning up in the gravy is the flour. And you might be able to see in there the flour. There's a little bit of flour in there. It'll start turning brown. That's homemade gravy. So again, this is cheater gravy. So I've got 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup here. See those? And I've got 1 can of cream of celery soup, and that's my gravy. All right. And then what I'm going to do too is 1 cup of sour cream, or 8 ounces. I've got this leftover creme fraiche from the Flammkuchen I made the other day, which is basically it's basically sour cream, but it's just fancier. Ooh la la! It's from Francais. Creme fraiche. So it's got a nuttier flavor. It's actually pretty tasty. So if you can find it, if you want to jazz up your smothered pork chops a little bit, then by all means. So I'm just gonna fry these up. I'll keep talking to y'all. Some of you said you. Smells good. Kind of gotten away from pork. My wife has kind of steered away from pork a little bit, which is a shame because I love it. Now bacon is another story. try to explain it. Now I've got a wooden spatula here I'm going to use just to, I don't scrape up these pots here. Kind of turn them over here and see how we're doing. Yeah, there we go. It's kind of a nice golden brown fried pork chop look. You can see that. See the golden brown there? Looking nice. Now, again, trim up the pork chop a little bit, but I like to leave a little bit of fat on there because, man, that's where the flavor is, isn't it? You know, it's not. I guess we're learning more and more these days that fat ain't so bad. You need it. Keep that brain working. So I'm gonna fry these up. It's gonna go right back. I'm gonna take them out here in a second, put them back on that plate. Turn this heat down just a little bit. And I don't want to burn them, but got to keep them moving around. How's that doing? Yep, so it's browning up. Now I'm fairly certain, you know, cooking it this long that the insides, half-inch. Obviously, the thicker the pork chop, the more it's going to need to cook. So these are about half-inch. You can get thin-cut pork chops that obviously will cook in no time. But my thought is these are going to go in the why don't we make it French and call it faux gravy? Faux gravy. That's French for false gravy. I don't know what the French word for gravy is. Gravois? No, probably not. I doubt that. Somebody Google that for me and let me know. A lot of folks are asking if I taught, if I was a teacher. I was an instructor pilot, C-17, so I taught at the schoolhouse. I taught other people how to fly the C-17. And then after I retired, I taught simulators. I am now again a simulator instructor, but I took about 2.5 years off and went and taught junior ROTC in a high school here in Charleston. I really enjoyed that, and you had to be on your A game with high school kids, that's for sure. So I don't know if you could see the brown on the bottom there. That's that flour. So I'm going to turn this down a little bit again. So kind of fried the pork chops up, turning them over again. Fairly regular. The oil's cooking out of it. Frying them up good. I like a nice crust on it, so I put a lot of flour on there. Now it's going to be in that faux gravy, and that the flour that's left in there too it'll really do a nice job thickening it up, adding a lot of the flavor. So I was thinking, you know, I had all that oil. I was thinking that maybe it would be too much, but you don't want a lot of oil in there because I don't want it greasy. My wife certainly doesn't want it greasy. So I'm going to take, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a paper towel and put it on this plate here. When I take the pork chops out, get some of the grease off. That's probably enough. So how long was that? That was probably 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes maybe. Inside's probably still a little pink, I'm guessing. All right. Pan, so I'm going to take these out for just a second. The pan's warm. I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit. And all I'm going to do now is just pour this soup in. It's this is a 10-ounce can of soup. All right. Now the recipe in the soup calls for a can of water with it. So what I'm going to do, I've got pan's still pretty hot. I've got 2 whole what I'm going to do is I'm going to, instead of using a whole can, I'm going to just put a half can to kind of help get the soup out of here. Kind of swirl it around to get the soup out. Put it in here. Should have let this cool down a little bit. As I'm stirring it in here, I'm gonna use this wood spatula to scrape up the pork chop that was left behind, and that's all that's gonna do is make it taste better, right? So, and again, it's kind of a faux gravy. Just kind of scrape it around in there a little bit. Now that water kind of cooled it down, so it's not gonna flash fry it. Put the other can in here, and I'm gonna dump it all in, and then you probably should get a spoon. That'd probably be easier, wouldn't it? So if I try to come at things with, you know, hey, if I was learning this for the first time, or if I was doing this for the first time, what would I, kind of questions would I ask? And that's kind of what I try to anticipate. And when I do something to teach, that's kind of the way I do it. So, but if I miss anything, if you have a question, or hey, what about this or that, you know, please ask. There's little bits of mushroom in this soup, but again, it's a cream of mushroom soup. It's really creamy. And then I'm going to put in this cream of celery. Same thing. Dump that in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a little, about a third of a can of water back in. Use my spoon, swirl it around, try to get everything I can out of here. And the water just, again, it kind of, because as it simmers, the water's going to cook out of it, so I'll add a little bit, kind of mix it all in. So get the can nice and clean. About a third of a can in here. Swirl it around and get all that good soup out of there. There. One more. It's pretty quick and easy. Bella's play practice now, or rehearsal. Sorry, it's rehearsals. So she's at rehearsal now, so she'll be home here in about 20 minutes, so this will be ready for her and nice and hot. And what does this go well over? Well, I mean, you could just eat it on its own, or I like putting gravy, or I'm sorry, I like putting, I got gravy on the mind now, I guess. I like putting this over rice. We got our rice cooker, and we'll put this over rice, and it's tasty. Okay, so I've got all that in. Now I'm going to add my sour cream. I'm going to turn the heat back up a little bit now, because I want this kind of, it'll simmer, just kind of bubbling a little bit as it cooks. So this creme fraiche, I'm going to use this. Very nice. I'm going to just use the whole thing. So it's a cup. I'm going to use the whole thing. And it has a nice little zip to it. So sour cream or creme fraiche, 1 cup. You'll be good. So you see, easy gravy, faux gravy. Did I just make that up? I think I did. New word. And I kind of, when I get this all mixed back up and it's heating back up now, and then I'm going to just put the pork chops back in, and then I'm going to let it just simmer for 20 minutes, and that's it. So, got this all mixed in. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? The pork chops will get in there and they'll continue to cook. It's all mixed up. And I just put the pork chops back in. That one wanted to get in there. He did a cannonball into there. All right. And gotta put them in there and then just submerge them in there. And they'll cook underneath there. They'll continue to cook as this gravy heats up, and they'll continue cooking. And we'll come back and check on it again here in about 20 minutes. See you then. Stand by. All right, so we're back. It's been about 25 minutes. I've just had it on a slow little simmer. Just every now and then kind of give it a stir to make sure it's not sticking to the bottom of the pot or anything else, so it doesn't scorch the soup or anything. So, but I think you'd be all right. I was sitting there thinking while I was waiting on this, you probably could put this in a crock pot. Kind of again, fry up the pork chops, or you could even probably put chicken or something in a crock pot and just let it cook slow all day. You probably could put it in uncooked and slow cook it all day in the crock pot with just the soup there. That'd probably be pretty good too. But this is just a quick, fast, and easy little way here. So I made up a pot of rice while I was waiting here. So I got myself a little bowl of rice. Got myself a serving spoon here, so I'm going to ladle some of this out. Got some of this gravy, faux gravy. So I'm going to keep calling it that now. So, invented it. So it's real nice on gravy. And then I'm going to get one of these pork chops out. There it is. Sounds like Bella's home, just in time. So this is what it looks like. So if you cook it longer, it's probably going to be pretty tender. This looks pretty tender. I'll go ahead and cut into this here. Yep, that's all cooked. Let me angle this up here so you can see my enjoyment of this. Oh, hold on one second. It's all right. So, just had to let Bella in. Back door sticking. Welcome back from school, Bella.
Thank you.
So, we got some other pork chops here. So, let's go figure this camera out here. All right, there we are. So, try this. Very nice. And the creme fraiche really gives, or the sour cream really gives it a nice touch, nice kind of a tart taste. Great over rice, very simple. Hope you enjoy it. Check out the recipe down below, and on your way down, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll see y'all next time.